Yo, hoop fans! Your sideline sage, Tips and Upstreams, is lacing up once again. On deck, deep dives into the freshest NBA clashes, ready to set the planks ablaze. But before we jump the ball, be sure to hammer that subscribe on our YouTube channel to keep hooked with our sharp forecasts and prime selections. All right, let's bounce into today's NBA Crystal Ball reads. The first prediction for today is for the game between Milwaukee Bucks and Charlotte Hornets. In the vibrant heart of Charlotte, the Spectrum Center gears up for an electrifying NBA clash as the Milwaukee Bucks, riding high from their staggering 123-85 triumph, gear up to lock horns with the Charlotte Hornets once again. This face-off is hot on the heels of Milwaukee's most commanding victory of the season, a game that showcased their sheer dominance with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, and Bobby Portis leading the onslaught. Under Doc Rivers' leadership, the Bucks have been climbing the ranks, sporting a 6-7 record and unveiling a rock-solid defense that's consistently kept scores under the century mark in most of their recent contests. Despite taking a beating, the Hornets have bounced back this season, particularly with the addition of players like Tre Mann, Vasilije Micic, Davis Bertans, and Seth Curry, breathing new life into the team. These moves have kick-started some momentum for Charlotte, culminating in a winning streak of 5 out of their last 6 games before their setback against Milwaukee. The Hornets' battles with the Bucks this season have been tough, with significant losses marking their encounters. Yet Charlotte's recent upswing and Milwaukee's defensive rebirth make this matchup a compelling spectacle. The Bucks excel statistically, boasting high ranks in points per game and leading the charge in fourth-quarter scores. Their shooting accuracy, both from the field and beyond the arc, places them among the league's elite, highlighting their offensive prowess. Defensively, Milwaukee has seen a transformation, with players like Brook Lopez becoming central figures in their success story thanks to their defensive skills. On the flip side, the Hornets have struggled with defensive efficiency and point differentials, finding themselves at the lower end of the league standings. However, standout performances from players like Nick Richards and Miles Bridges showcase Charlotte's potential strengths in rebounding and defensive maneuvers. Historically, the Bucks have had the upper hand in their Charlotte encounters, a trend that's hard to overlook. Nonetheless, the Hornets' recent form, combined with the Bucks' demanding schedule, introduces elements that could sway the game's direction. Milwaukee's performance on the road, especially with key players getting rest in their last game, positions them as the favorites. Yet, the grit and potential of the Hornets' latest roster additions cannot be dismissed lightly. Considering the current form, statistics, and history between the two teams in Charlotte, the forecast tilts in favor of the Bucks continuing their winning streak. However, the Hornets' recent spirited displays and the Bucks' sporadic road game inconsistencies suggest that Charlotte could make this a closer contest than many expect. The 12.5-point spread seems generous, reflecting the Hornets' resilience and the Bucks' historical performances in Charlotte. To sum up, while the Bucks are poised for another win with their stellar offensive and defensive statistics, the Hornets are not to be underestimated, likely making a strong case to cover the spread. The Bucks' defensive improvements and offensive capabilities are key, but the Hornets' recent form and home court advantage could tighten the victory margin. My bet is on the Charlotte Hornets to cover the 12.5-point spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Utah Jazz and Orlando Magic. As we amp up for the high-voltage clash between the Utah Jazz and the Orlando Magic, the air is thick with anticipation. The Jazz are clawing their way out of a slump, hungry for a win after taking hits from the Hawks and Hornets, but managed to snag a victory against the Spurs. They're dropping buckets at an average of 117.7 points on a 46.9% clip, but their defense is leaking points like a sieve, giving up 125 on 48.3% from the field. Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton are the squad's spearheads, yet their defensive gaps, especially letting opponents drain threes at a 39.1% rate, are alarming. On the flip side, the Orlando Magic are hitting their stride, notching victories over the Pistons and Nets with a well-oiled offense led by Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. With a scoreboard ticking at 111.4 points on 47.4% shooting while keeping rivals to 110.3 on 47.7%, their D slightly overshadows the Jazz's, particularly in clamping down on perimeter shots to a stingy 35.8%. Peering into the team dynamics and the tail of the tape, The Magic boast an impressive home court record against teams on the skid, sealing their last 11 matchups. Their knack for beating the spread under similar conditions shines, coupled with a trend of high-octane scoring affairs against the Jazz when pegged as the favorites. On the contrary, the Jazz's road woes against victorious teams are evident, with a staggering 28 losses in their last 30 outings. Yet, their grit as underdogs post-loss, especially facing off against Southeast Division rivals, commands respect. Zooming in on tonight's battlefield dynamics and head-to-head stats, the Magic's stronghold and their knack for stifling assists play a pivotal role. The Jazz's struggles with coving up the ball and falling prey to blocks could spell trouble in tonight's showdown. Weighing every angle, the Jazz's hit-or-miss offense and porous defense face a stiff challenge against a Magic ensemble that parades some of the league's brightest young guns in Banchero and Wagner. The prediction tilts in favor of Orlando, given their top-tier defense poised to clamp down on Utah's scoring attempts, further complicating the Jazz's quest for rhythm. Banchero and Wagner's track record of dominance over the Jazz hints at a repeat performance, propelling the Magic toward triumph. Considering the Jazz's current form juxtaposed with the Magic's robust offensive and defensive machinery, especially on their turf, the smart bet is on the Orlando Magic to emerge victorious and beat the spread. The interplay of both teams' dynamics, alongside the Magic's defensive prowess and the Jazz's away game frailties, signals Orlando holding the high ground in this duel. My bet's on the Orlando Magic to clinch the win and surpass the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Atlanta Hawks and Brooklyn Nets. In an electrifying clash within the Eastern Conference, the Atlanta Hawks soar into Brooklyn to take on the beleaguered Nets at a pivotal moment in their campaigns. This showdown sees both squads at a crucial juncture. The Hawks, riding a wave of mixed results, aim to solidify their standings with a triumph, leveraging their current upswing. On the flip side, the Nets are in a scramble to regain their balance after a tough stretch, dropping 5 out of their last 6 matchups. Despite missing their luminary Trae Young, the Hawks have displayed grit and depth. Their recent conquest over the Jazz, clinching a dominant 124-97 victory, highlights their potential to shine. Jalen Johnson's remarkable outing, together with vital inputs from DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan Bogdanovic, demonstrates the squad's diverse offensive firepower. Their sharpshooting, especially from the three-point line, and rebounding acumen set them up well against a Nets side that's been faltering. Brooklyn's latest performances have been hampered by inefficacy and dim showings from crucial players. Their defeat to the Magic, hitting just 39% from the field, underscores their ongoing woes. Subpar efforts by Mikal Bridges and Lonnie Walker in that contest further underline the team's urgency for a resurgence. Despite these hurdles, the Nets have generally outperformed the Hawks, particularly after clinching victories against Atlantic Division rivals. Yet, delving into the statistics, the Hawks lead in offensive rebounds per game and in field goal attempts, a vital aspect against a Nets team languishing at the bottom in opponent free throw and field goal percentages. These stats suggest the Hawks' aggressive play and rebounding tactics might overpower the Nets, especially in the paint. Past encounters in Brooklyn have been closely fought, with the underdogs beating the spread in their last 8 matchups. This pattern, combined with the Nets' struggles as favorites on Thursdays, hints at a possible advantage for the Hawks. Moreover, a trend towards lower scoring games for both teams, with 9 of the Nets' last 10 games not exceeding the total points line, points to defense playing a crucial role in this duel. Given the Hawks' current form, their capacity to secure wins without Trae Young, and their defensive strides, Atlanta is set to capitalize on the Nets' frailties. Despite the Nets being the favorites with a 2.5-point spread, they are under immense pressure to pivot from their recent downturn and the statistical disadvantages they face in this clash. In summary, with the Hawks' superior rebounding and offensive efficiency, alongside the Nets' persistent struggles, Atlanta stands in a strong position to not only beat the spread, but to clinch a win away from home. Their team depth and resilience, even without Young, are likely to prevail over a Nets squad striving for unity. The Hawks' prowess in limiting their adversaries' scoring, while sustaining their offensive momentum, tips the balance in their favor. Thus, in a game that's expected to be tightly contested, the wise wager is on the Atlanta Hawks to beat the spread and potentially secure an outright victory, banking on their momentum and the Nets' weak spots. My money's on the Atlanta Hawks to beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Golden State Warriors and New York Knicks. In the vibrant heart of the Big Apple, A primetime NBA showdown is about to go down this Thursday night at Madison Square Garden, featuring the Golden State Warriors in a hot streak going head-to-head with the New York Knicks. The Warriors are on fire, having clinched 11 victories in their last 14 games, propelling them to a neck-and-neck race for the 9th spot in the Western Conference. This comeback tale is fueled by overcoming early bumps in the road, such as injuries, and adjusting their lineup, with the dynamic duo of Steph Curry's magic and Klay Thompson's game-changing presence off the bench leading the charge. Their latest triumph over the Washington Wizards showcased their team depth and resilience, even with Curry having a slow start. On the other end, the Knicks are treading through turbulent times, battling a series of games against the league's elite while dealing with crucial injuries to stars like Julius Randle and OG Anunoby. Their recent defeat at the hands of the New Orleans Pelicans laid bare their weaknesses, especially in perimeter defense and team depth, further strained by the potential absence of Jalen Brunson and Isaiah Hartenstein. Looking at the matchup, the Warriors' recent form, especially away from home, their scoring arsenal, and the depth of their bench, tips the scale in their favor. Golden State's knack for three-pointers and spreading the defense contrasts sharply with the Knicks' shooting slump and inconsistency due to injuries. Additionally, Golden State's ability to snag defensive rebounds could curb New York's second-chance points, vital given the Knicks' current shooting struggles. Historical matchups in New York add another layer, with the Warriors often shining in the spotlight of Madison Square Garden. This, along with the Knicks' recent struggles and injuries, suggests a tough game ahead for the home team. Despite recent setbacks against top contenders, the Warriors look primed to make a bold statement on the road. With superior shooting percentages and defensive prowess, the Warriors are pegged to not only win but also beat the spread. Their strategic depth, particularly with Thompson and Paul coming off the bench, is likely to overpower a Knicks squad scrambling to regain its footing amid injuries. For the Knicks, it's an uphill climb. Their depth will be under the microscope, and facing the Warriors' smooth-running operation without their key players is a formidable challenge. Expect Curry to make a strong comeback, exploiting a Knicks defense that might struggle to cover him on the perimeter. To sum up, the Golden State Warriors are set to extend their winning streak, leveraging the Knicks' weak spots to notch a victory that solidifies their place as Western Conference threats. While the Knicks will put up a valiant fight, surmounting Golden State's offensive juggernaut and strategic depth without their main players appears unlikely, with the Warriors favored to win by a 2.5-point spread and an over-under total points set at 224. Brace for a high-scoring game with the Warriors likely covering the spread and the total points tilting towards the over, given both teams' offensive dynamics and defensive hurdles. My money's on the Golden State Warriors to triumph and cover the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs. In an electrifying matchup that's turning heads in the NBA sphere and among betting circles, the Oklahoma City Thunder are gearing up to face off against the San Antonio Spurs at the iconic AT&T Center on a chilly Thursday evening. The Thunder, surfing a massive momentum wave, have been lighting up the scoreboard and leaving a trail of wins, boasting an impressive streak of 9 victories in their last 11 games. Their recent obliteration of the Rockets, with a commanding 112-95 win, showcases their top form, spearheaded by the dazzling trio of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren, whose performances have been nothing less than jaw-dropping. On the flip side, the Spurs are caught in a tough patch, securing a win in only one of their last 13 attempts. Their latest 114-105 defeat to the Timberwolves only underscored their woes, despite commendable efforts from stars like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Victor Wembanyama. The contrast in momentum is glaring, with the Thunder appearing invincible and the Spurs seemingly deflated. A dive into the numbers reveals the Thunder's dominance on both ends, with their sharp shooting from deep and rebounding prowess playing a crucial role in their recent success. Meanwhile, the Spurs have been struggling to find their groove, languishing at the league's lower echelons in three-point accuracy and ball control. Historically, the Thunder have dominated their recent San Antonio showdowns, winning and covering the spread in their last 6 visits as the favored team. This streak, combined with their stellar record as favorites post a home win, hints at their continued dominance over the Spurs. Injuries could tip the scales, but the Thunder's depth and adaptability position them well to tackle any surprises. The The Spurs, already battling form issues, can ill afford any key player absences if they aim to put up a fight. Analyzing the current dynamics, the Thunder's sharp field goal and three-point shooting, coupled with their rebounding strength, grant them a considerable advantage. The Spurs' struggle for consistency adds to their uphill battle in this encounter. The clash at the AT&T Center is shaping up to be a scoring bonanza, with the Thunder poised to exploit the Spurs' defensive vulnerabilities. The expected fast-paced gameplay from both teams amplifies the prospects of a high-scoring game, making a bet on the over for total points a savvy choice. Despite the home court advantage, the Spurs' form and statistical deficits make a win over the Thunder's formidable charge seem unlikely. The Thunder, relentless in their quest for supremacy, are tipped not just to clinch the victory, but to also comfortably beat the spread. Their blistering form, dominance in head-to-head matchups, and statistical edge point towards a decisive win for Oklahoma City. Betting on the over for total points also emerges as a compelling option, given the offensive might of the Thunder and the rapid tempo at which both squads play. While this game isn't my top pick for betting today, and I generally steer clear of picking sides, if pushed to choose, I'd back the Oklahoma City Thunder to triumph and surpass the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Houston Rockets and Phoenix Suns. Tonight's showdown at the Footprint Center, featuring the Houston Rockets going head-to-head with the Phoenix Suns, promises to be a riveting display of basketball prowess from two teams on opposite ends of the success spectrum. The Rockets, aiming to bounce back from their recent downturn, are up against a Suns squad that's been on fire, especially on their home turf, with Houston trying to shake off the cobwebs from 8 defeats in their recent 10 games, and Phoenix soaring on a 6-game hot streak out of their last 9. The stage is set for an electrifying encounter. The Rockets have been in a funk, with a particularly disappointing performance against the Thunder, despite Alperen Sengun's impressive double-double. Their shooting accuracy has hit a low, managing only 38% from the field. This slump in scoring, especially noticeable away from home, has seen them struggling to hit the 110-point benchmark, a stark contrast to their form in home games. Meanwhile, the Suns have been nothing short of spectacular at the Footprint Center, securing 8 straight victories. Their win against the Lakers showcased their robust offensive lineup, led by Grayson Allen and Kevin Durant. Their knack for taking an early lead, as seen in their explosive start against the Lakers, sets them apart, enabling them to establish and maintain a lead throughout the game. On paper, the Suns shine brighter, particularly in critical metrics like field goal percentage, three-point accuracy, and rebounds at home. Their offense is both more dynamic and effective compared to the Rockets' struggles on the road. Moreover, Phoenix's defense has consistently managed to stifle Houston in past matchups, giving them a strategic edge. Past performances at the Footprint Center also favor the Suns, who have consistently outplayed the Rockets. This history, coupled with the Suns' knack for beating the spread in their recent home games, bolsters confidence in their chances tonight. Injury updates could influence the game, with the Rockets without Tari Eason and the Suns keeping an eye on Eric Gordon and Bradley Beal. Nonetheless, the Suns have demonstrated depth and resilience, clinching victories even in the absence of key players, a trait that will be key in keeping their winning streak alive. Taking everything into account, the Suns' formidable home record, their statistical edge, and the Rockets' road game blues, Phoenix is set to not just clinch the victory, but also beat the 8.5-point spread. The game's pace suggests a high-scoring affair, likely pushing the total points beyond the 233-point threshold. To sum it up, anticipate the Phoenix Suns to continue their home dominance with a solid win over the Houston Rockets, surpassing the spread in the process. Their well-rounded offense and defensive strength, combined with the Rockets' away game shortcomings, hint at a win by a comfortable margin for Phoenix. The game's tempo is expected to contribute to a total score that exceeds the predicted line, making betting on the over a smart choice. I'm backing the Phoenix Suns to triumph and beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Miami Heat and Denver Nuggets. Tonight's NBA clash featuring the Miami Heat against the Denver Nuggets promises to be an edge-of-your-seat affair, with both teams bringing their A-game and distinct advantages to the court. Fresh from a commanding victory over the Trail Blazers, where they hit the net with 52.9% of their shots and scored 37 out of 70 from the field. The Heat are riding a wave of momentum. Their prowess from beyond the arc was on full display, sinking 14 out of 26 three-pointers, though their free throw accuracy at 69.2% could raise eyebrows when facing the sturdy Nuggets. Jimmy Butler, having racked up 22 points and dished out 9 assists in his latest outing, is pivotal to Miami's strategy. However, with the team's scoring average at 110.6 points per game on a 46.5% shooting rate, they find themselves on the lower tier of the NBA's scoring hierarchy. Their defensive game is formidable, though, limiting opponents to just 109.9 points per game, placing them third in the league defensively. The Denver Nuggets, spurred by Nikola Jokic's outstanding double-double of 32 points and 16 rebounds against the Warriors, enter the fray with lofty expectations. Their offensive prowess is underscored by a 49.2% success rate from the field, the sixth best in the league, averaging 114.5 points per game. Their teamwork shines through in rebounds and assists, key against a defensively tight Heat squad. Looking at past encounters in Denver, the Nuggets often capitalize on their home advantage, a trend likely to persist with their current form and fan support. Injuries and roster availability will be critical, as any absences could tilt the game's balance and strategy effectiveness. Comparing stats, the Nuggets edge out with superior field goal and three-point percentages and rebounding efficiency on both ends of the court. Their historical home performance against the Heat further boosts their chances. Considering the analysis, including the Nuggets' well-rounded offense led by Jokic, their home advantage, and higher offensive efficiency, I predict the Denver Nuggets will not just win, but also cover the spread. The Heat's defensive strength will pose a challenge, but Denver's offensive depth and home crowd support should see them through. My bet is on the Denver Nuggets to clinch the victory and cover the spread. The last prediction for today is for the game between Washington Wizards and Los Angeles Lakers, tonight's showdown at thecrypto.com. Arena is set to be a spectacle, with the Washington Wizards going head-to-head against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Wizards find themselves in a rough patch, caught in a disheartening 12-game skid, struggling to find their rhythm in a season filled with hurdles, languishing at 14th in the Eastern Conference with a bleak 949 tally. Their struggle is real on both ends of the court, failing to leave a mark offensively and defensively. Conversely, the Lakers are surfing a wave of victories, bagging wins in 8 of their last 11 matches, demonstrating grit and a never-say-die attitude, especially highlighted by their thrilling comeback victory over the Clippers. Peering into the specifics, the Wizards' shooting stats, hitting 47.1% from the field and 34.9% from downtown, combined with their bottom-of-the-league rebounding, underscore their struggle to dominate games. Their defense is leaking, allowing rivals to hit 50.0% and 37.0% from the three-point line. On the flip side, the Lakers, boasting a solid 31-28 record, have an offense that's firing on all cylinders, shooting 49.5% from the field, and a defense that's holding its ground, albeit with room for improvement. In matchups at Los Angeles, the Lakers traditionally have the edge, a trend likely to hold, considering the current dynamics and morale of the teams. The Lakers' home court dominance, particularly against Southeast Division rivals, paired with their knack for come-from-behind wins, positions them as the favorites. LeBron James and Anthony Davis have been pivotal for the Lakers, with their leadership and versatile play greatly influencing the team's success. However, playing back-to-back might test their stamina, potentially impacting their performance. Still, given the Wizards' recent form and their track record against winning teams, especially in Los Angeles, they're clearly at a disadvantage. All things considered, the Lakers are primed to leverage the Wizards' ongoing slump and past struggles in Los Angeles. Despite potential fatigue, the Lakers' offensive potency and recent momentum hint at their capacity to dispatch the Wizards and beat the spread. The over-under set at 241.5 points seems ambitious, but given the Wizards' defensive issues, tipping the scale towards the over is plausible, particularly if the Lakers' offense ignites as of late. My money's on the Lakers to clinch the win and surpass the spread in what's shaping up to be a high-octane clash, likely pushing past the 241.5 points mark.